Hello, this is Craig Mertens, Director of Product Education for Inktavo, the parent company of his InkSoft, Printavo, GraphicsFlow, and SignTracker. Today, I have Ryan Schultz, one of our account executives at Inktavo, and we are going to be teaching you about supercharging your InkSoft stores using artificial intelligence. It's a really interesting topic. It's a bit novel. Artificial intelligence is something that's come on pretty quick. You know, it's crazy. I think a year ago, I'd never heard of Chat GPT. Brian, how did you first find out about AI?
Probably somebody in our Slack channel just saying, "Hey, look at this." I remember there was a one of the engineers had kind of implemented some Chat GPT graphical interface stuff, and it was pretty neat. They were kind of playing around with it. Nothing we ever launched, but
yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think I saw it on a TikTok. And then I went in, downloaded, it was in preview with ChatGPT, and I went in and got a ChatGPT account. And I just remember when I first got it, I just started keying in all these things about like biographical things about myself and businesses that I've been involved in. And I was just absolutely shocked with the results it was coming up with. And I knew at that moment it was going to change everything. But I think like anything else, you know, new technology comes on board and people, you know, always struggle to figure out, you know, how can I implement this into my business? You know, I'm not a super techie person. I don't have this, you know, I'm not a coder. You know, what are some real world things that you can do with artificial intelligence? And one of the real world things you can do with artificial intelligence is write HTML code. I think a lot of us use it for research. I know my browsing habits have changed dramatically. I don't go into Google when I'm trying to get information on something. I'll either use ChatGPT or I like to use Microsoft Copilot. I like Copilot a little bit better for like research because it incorporates photography and it'll provide links, and it also gives you the basically the sources of information. But if I just need to write copy or write HTML code, ChatGPT is kind of a massive thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk a little bit about you know, ChatGPT and how to get it. And there's lots of different AI tools. But the AI tool we're going to be using in class is ChatGPT, and I want to show you guys how to get set up, talk about paid versus free, and I'll show you a neat little tip on how to create basically a ChatGPT app on your computer from your web browser. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT, if you're not familiar, is from OpenAI. And one of the things I can do is if I log into my ChatGPT account, I can actually turn this into an app. And the way you can turn it into an app is pretty simple. Is if you're in Chrome, you can do this in Bing as well. I believe you can also do this in Safari. If you go into the little three dots, in this case, I'm in Chrome, but there's a way to actually convert this into a web app. And let's see here, save and share, and it'll say create shortcut. So this is kind of the new location where this function, it used to be a dedicated function on the menu, but now you have to go into save and share. So if I click on create shortcut, I can name it whatever I want, and then I can click on open as window. And the reason I do that is now I don't have to open it up as a tab in my web browser if I'm going to use it. All I have to do is I have it on my task manager in Windows, and I just open it up as an app. And I find that to be really useful. I keep this open on my monitor all day long, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on new chat, and we're going to leave that over here for now. I'm actually going to minimize it. First thing I want to talk about is just in general, you know, store construction. And one of the things that I think is one of the more innovative things that we've done in the last year with InkSoft is built store cloning. And so I'm going to show you how you can kind of leverage store cloning and AI to really create a very cool, functional store, looks good, but also how to clone that store and then use AI to do edits on it. And so what you see right here is my East Eagles booster store. Let's take a quick little tour here. It's a very basic store. I have a hero banner here. Let's go to the style editor so you can see the components that I built in here. So I added a promo bar here. I added a hero banner. Just quick little tip. Anytime you add a hero banner and it's only one image, you want to change your rotational interval to 0. I added a goal setting for a fundraising module. This right here is nothing more than a call to action. And what I did is I turned off the copy for the button text because we don't really need it. Just turn that off. So I got rid of the buttons and I just put a caption here. Wanted to do that because I wanted to have a different color on this bar between this section right here. This is actually a content block. This is what we're going to be working with today. And this content block has HTML code. And this code was actually generated from Chat GPT. And we'll talk about what we've done here in a little bit. Another little break here. I had a customer say, hey, you know what I really want to do is set up a panel of hats that have patches on them, and I want my customers to be able to go in and click on the hat and customize the patch. He told me, yeah, you can't do that in InkSoft. And I'm like, well, let me show you how to do it. And he's like, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do that with InkSoft. You can do anything with InkSoft. It's very powerful. So, and then also some graduation signs and a graduation banner. And down here, some pre-decorated products as well as some promo products. And then I think at the bottom, I dropped in a testimonial in there. So this is a pretty typical InkSoft store. I've got some sub pages in here. So when you're in InkSoft and you just want to edit the components within your store, and everything in InkSoft is based on components, best practice. If you want to kind of get to direct navigation to a component, you can always go to the drop-down list here. So if I just wanted to see, hey, featured products, here's the different layouts. You can do that. I'm going to back up here and go to storefront view. And storefront view is where you're operating the store in the same manner that your customer would. What I did in this store is these graphics right here are interactive. And these graphics were graphics I created in the GraphicsFlow platform, which is the sister company to InkSoft. I went in and name dropped these graphics. I swapped out this eagle in here. And then what I did is I imported just this part without the word insert sport. And the fonts in GraphicsFlow match up the fonts in InkSoft. And I just typed in insert sport, put this down in here, saved it, grabbed the link, and then created a screen grab from this just by going over here and just screen grabbing this right here. And then I used custom HTML to create this right here. So basically what these are, if I go and click on Style Editor again, is I imported the 3 images. I highlighted the image to input a URL. And then when these came in originally, they're stacked vertically on top of each other. So what I did is I took the code and I brought it into Chat GPT, and I had Chat GPT reformat it. I said, hey, listen, I want these centered in the page, 100 pixels in between them, and hit done, and it created that code. So I've given my customer an interactive experience. So that's basically the lay of the land of this store. But this store right now is now a template. If I go into InkSoft and I go into stores, you'll notice I have stores that are set up as quick store templates. So I have a store that's a holiday store. I have a corporate store. I have a basic quick corporate and a team store. I have a signage store, and I have this quick school store template right here. This is the one we started with. So when I create a store, I don't have to create it from scratch. I can create that store simply by cloning it. And the way you would clone a store is when you're in your store list, if you go over to the 3 dots and you say clone store, you put in a new store directory. It'll automatically create the store name. It'll automatically create the directory. You can override that. But that's something that's very new and that's very important is this: include products in store artwork. And bear in mind that we could redirect this to our own domain if we chose to. I'm just going to clone the store. So all of the settings came over from the original store, including the products and the art, because now I can go over here to replace art, and anything that I have that had this design on it, I can bulk replace it with another design from another school. I don't have to go and recreate those products in the Rapid Product Creator. I can simply bulk replace the art, and I can have the version of this design that says Central Cougars on it. Once I've done that, really it's just a matter of going in and changing the color theme of the store. Maybe I wanted to make the store colors red, go over here and localize it. And maybe I want to swap out the logos. We'll go ahead and save and publish that. Go over here to Store Admin, go to Branding, replace the store logos, and I have a new store. It literally could take me 2 minutes to do this. So this is an extremely powerful functionality of InkSoft. And as it starts relating to AI, you're going to see why this is really important to be able to do this. So I'm just going to go in here to my store art, and we're going to switch out that logo there. And we're going to switch out that logo there. And I'll switch out the little preview image. Save and publish this. And I'll go back to Style Editor and just swap out the banner, and I'm done. So it's a component. Remove that one. upload the new one, and now it's central boosters. And I could do some additional things. Now, I didn't swap the artwork out, but if I'd done an artwork swap on here, all these graphics would have the new artwork on them. And so that's a huge, huge selling point, and it's also a huge benefit to you in terms of being able to launch stores quickly. So how did AI fit into all this? Well, I'm going to show you that. The way I use AI is to write custom HTML. And so if I go into this component right here, which is called Manage Content, this is an HTML editor, but it's also a WYSIWYG HTML editor. So if I import images and I use basic functionality, word processing functionality, I can format this pretty much however I want. But if I want to do advanced formatting, instead of me having to go in and manually move things around, what I can do is I can just bring it into Chat GPT and have it write the code. Ryan, what are some things that you've seen people utilize Content Block for?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people embed videos from YouTube or other sources in the Content Block. It's a great area for just some generic text explaining a little bit about the store or a little bit about the business. Just like you're doing here, embedding graphics and links. It's a really versatile block. It's basically your blank canvas to add whatever you want.
If you have HTML code, it's just embedding that code into that page. And there's basic word processing in here. You can link URLs, you can import images, you can import videos from YouTube and have those embedded. But if you click on the two carrots, they're called here, you'll see the HTML code. And I could come in here if I wanted to and just manually hack it, this HTML code. If I wanted to change the size of an image and it had pixel dimensions, I could do that. But the one thing that you'll notice in the HTML code is right here. This is the location where these images are being stored and linked to for this particular block, content block. And so if I know this URL, I can use ChatGPT to write code and use these very specific images. So one of the things that I'll oftentimes do is I'll copy this URL out of here, and when I do my prompt in ChatGPT, I'll say, link this image to this URL. You know, maybe I create a completely separate page and I have an image I reuse all the time. I can just grab the URL for that image and incorporate it really in any content block. And you'll see over here, if you look over here, here's the RGB colors that are being used. We're using bold text. There's probably some pixel dimensions right here. Yep. So image container, I'll go and mess this up and put in 100 in here just so you can kind of see what happens here. Cool thing about Content Block is I don't have to accept this because I can just say discard changes. But that was me just manually kind of hacking away at HTML code. I don't have to do that. I can let ChatGPT do it. How did I kind of get to that point where I set that up? Let me show you how I got to that point. First of all, let's get out of this store here, and I'll go back to my main store. And I created an extra page here, just calling it AI demo to kind of illustrate some of the things that we can do here. So AI demo is a page that I currently have published. If I want to edit that page, I can just go over here to go to edit. And right now, one of the little integrations that I did is I built in the uniform builder from Augusta Sportswear. And I just used some content HTML code that Augusta provided me to build this in. So let me show you how I did that real quick. It's pretty straightforward. I went into ChatGPT, I had a prompt, and the prompt that I created was create an iframe element that is centered horizontally to the page to embed this web page into an HTML block. Create a header centered that displays uniform builder. And then all I did is include the link to the page from Augusta. So I just went to Augusta's website and I just grabbed the link from Augusta. Here, let's go over there real quick, kind of see how I did it. So I just went over to Augusta and they have this little design now thing right here. And I just grabbed this link. That's it. I just grabbed that link and then I built it into this prompt. And so once I built it into this prompt, I can just copy it to my clipboard. I can go into ChatGPT and I can paste it. And then ChatGPT is going to write the code. And the really neat thing about this is I can go back and make changes to the code once it writes the initial code. So if I want to have it, maybe have the copy a different font or the text be bolder, or I want to remove the caption. And neat thing about ChatGPT, it also tells you what it did. So not that I'm concerned about learning how to manually write HTML code, but it's kind of neat that it does that. So from here, all I have to do is just copy the code and create a new content block. So I'll just create a new content block here, and we'll start from scratch, and I'll just paste the code in and hit done. And that's what it's going to look like. Now, here's the neat thing, but I can still edit all this stuff. So if I go into Style Editor now and go into that particular page, go to Edit and go into that page. If I go to Manage Content, I still have the WYSIWYG going on right here. And so I can go and get rid of that. And if I want to bold this and make it bigger and maybe use a different font color, if I have the hex values for this blue, I can make it exactly the same blue. Let me show you how to do that. So it just changes it as we go. And getting the hex values for this blue, I'm going to save that. It would be just a matter of going to any of the components right here and selecting that blue. And here's your hex value. Notice that you have little plus arrows here. Here's your RGB values, and then here's your hex values. So in my prompt, I could have said, use this color blue for the header, and it would have written that code for me automatically. So that's a pretty good example of using AI to write HTML code and embed, in this case, the uniform builder from Augusta Sportswear into my website. And I can do that with catalog pages as well. Now, the other thing, I'll show you another, just kind of an idea here. I'll go into another content block right below it. And we'll do another prompt here. This prompt right here is creating a store directory from a list of URLs. So I had a customer recently, and he was using a competitor's software. And he says one of the things he really liked about his competitor's software is that he sells to businesses that have multiple locations. And then he sets up sub-stores for every one of their locations, and then he creates a landing page that links to every sub-store. So it's just one page. They can click on their store location button and go to that store. And he says, you can't do that in InkSoft. But I said, well, yeah, it's pretty easy to do in InkSoft. I just use a content block and had Chat GPT do it. And he was explaining to me how he was doing it in our competitors' software. And I said, wow, how long would it take you to set that page up? And he says, I don't know, 2-3 hours. I said, well, here, let's go ahead and set that up in InkSoft. And so I just grabbed URLs from 4 InkSoft stores here, and I created a little content prompt that says, create an HTML block to display the following links in a row, each link with a blue button, hex number for the colors, and rounded corners. I told you round the corners. And so I just went and grabbed that prompt, and I'm going to do a new chat. You could keep it in that same chat if you wanted to. And so copy and paste that prompt in there, and then it wrote the code. And I'll show you how to go in here and what it would look like if you did modifications to the code. And I'll show you how you can go in and actually kind of redirect it too if you don't like something. So I'm just going to copy that code over here, and I'm just going to go to the little HTML window here again, hit V, paste it in, hit done, and there's my store directory. I can go and give it new commands. So I could tell it to, increase the space. Now, if it was longer text, it's going to go in and make the buttons a little bit larger. But let's say I want to remove corner rounding, remove rounded corners. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then it's going to tell me what it did in code. So it's going to say, hey, to remove the corners, this is a style sheet thing. So it updated the style sheet. So now I'll go over here and copy that code. Manage content, and just replacing the existing code. So I got to delete the existing code, all of it, and then paste that in there. Hit done, and now I don't have rounded corners. And again, I still have the ability to come in here and make additional changes. So if I want to, again, change the color, make that bold, I still have the ability to do that. Specific directions, specific spacing, really anything I want in order to create that HTML code to create that content block. Now, I'll show you a couple other things that I did in this particular store, and I'm not going to save this part. Here, we're going to leave there. But in this store, we also have, in addition to that uniform builder, we also have what's called Art Portal. And what is the Art Portal? Art Portal is part of GraphicsFlow, our sister company. And if I click on Art Portal, it has a content block in here that has the Art Portal, and customers can go in here and they wanted to request a design for specific situation, sport, activity. Maybe there was a pickleball tournament, and they could go in here and just say, hey, change this to Camaldale. So they'd add it. They go over here, submit design request. They can put in all their pertinence here, and they submit a design request. Now, what's different about this, instead of requiring the customer to design it themselves like in the InkSoft Designer, we're actually creating an interaction with our customer, and it's allowing us to go in and really spruce this design up and really give it some TLC so it looks awesome. And I can force different fields to be accepted in here, and I actually added custom fields. So tell us about our project. I can have them pick out a date. So we'll put Tuesday, apply. If they have a salesperson, I added custom fields here for salesperson. If they want to upload specific source artwork like the Camaldale logo, they can do that. And submit design request. And where did this go? Came into GraphicsFlow and came in as a design request. I got an email. Customer got a confirmation. And if I want to edit this design, all I need to do is just go over here, click on that design request, assign it to somebody. So I'll assign it to that person, maybe put a few notes in there. And to edit it, I don't have to bring it into Illustrator, CorelDRAW, or anything. I just come over here and click on Customize, and we can change the colors, change the text. We'll go over here where it says Central Park, and I'll change that to Camaldale. And then where it says Dink Kings, I'm just going to change that to Open, Pickleball, and then over here I'll just say 24. And then we'll change the colors out a little bit too. And then over here, I'm just going to change out the colors. I like the navy, but I'm not crazy about this color. So we're going to kind of go with like rave green. This is basically the process on the art portal, but you can leverage this a different way because I can make this template editable in InkSoft. And so if I'm in this customer interaction and I'm trying to facilitate communication with them and I'm collaborating with artwork, that's one way of doing it. But if maybe I want to provide that self-service experience and let the customer make the edits, I can do that. Hey, Ryan, when you had your shop, what percentage of the artwork that you were doing was custom, like just 100% from the ground up custom? Or did you have customers coming to you and saying, hey, I screen grabbed this from Custom Ink. Can you do something like this? Did that come up in the course of your business?
Absolutely. I can remember one instance that somebody gave me vector production ready artwork. Everybody else was saying, can you come up with a design? Here, I found this graphic on the internet. Can you put it on a t-shirt? And we'd spend hours, tracing it, designs with the pen tool in Illustrator, trying to come up with different ways to make the artwork look be usable. A lot of time would have been saved if I had something like this.
Yeah, well, it's certainly like a pretty significant pain point for a lot of our customers, which is that their customers don't understand what it takes to build art, and they just think it magically occurs. But they want things that are custom, but they don't want to pay for them. There's also the time frame in your time that's involved. It's expensive to send it out to have it rebuilt or have somebody design something from scratch. Your time's valuable. It might make sense on a larger order, but definitely doesn't make sense on a smaller order. One of the things that you can do is you can create kind of semi-custom. And to show you what I did here is I'm in my GraphicsFlow account, and this is how I internally access artwork. And I went in and I created a file that was for a grad sign. I just went in and typed in grad. I could have typed in graduation, and I just kind of scanned down here until I found one that I kind of liked, like this one right here. So I clicked on it and I went in, hit customize where it says congrats Tyler here. I wanted to look to see what that font was. And so went over here and clicked on the edit, and I can see DAS Surfside. So I remember what that font was. And then I turned it off because this is the part I'm actually going to customize in InkSoft. I'm going to add this. And then where it said graduate, that's a multi-layer text effect. So I changed that to the word seniors. And so I have to change each layer there. And now word seniors changed. So I changed that to East. And East is the Eagles. And where it says honk 4, I'm going to change that to congrats. Hit enter, and then just swap out the tiger with an eagle. And where it says congrats, I think I'm going to move that over a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of nudge that, click on the little swap button. Now here's the thing, if I already had the eagle, and for this particular school and it was their official eagle, I could just go in and replace it with their eagle. Or if I had that eagle already stored in my GraphicsFlow account, I could do that. But I'm just going to type in eagle here. And then what I'm going to do is find the eagle I'm interested in. Just going to go over here. Here's a list of colors, and I'm going to take all the purple and make it the blue. So I'm consolidating that. the way I converted this into a template in InkSoft and then used AI to create that content block was pretty simple. I went into InkSoft and I created a blank sign blank. I didn't use a signage feature. And so what I did is I created a blank sign blank that's 18 by 24. It was just a rectangle with an outline on it that was 18 inches by 24 inches. And I'm going to go in InkSoft. I'm going to go into products. And I'm going to go into my store. And I'm going to show you what that product looked like. So I'm just going to click on Manage Product. And I'm going to go into this particular store, East Eagles Booster, right there. And here's the product that I created. So the image I used was just a rectangle with a black outline, I think. It's how I set that up. I'll click on that product. I named it, picked a supplier, put the dimensions in. I made it available in the designer, and then I also set it up for free printing. So the price includes printing. So we're not calculating the price based on the graphic. I know it's always going to be digitally printed. So I set it for digitally printed, and most importantly, I set it to active. And this particular product is I have it assigned to 2 different stores, probably the store I cloned. Yeah, so it's assigned to the clone store because it came over with the same artwork, and it's assigned to this store. And the only tricky part is this, print regions. So when you do this, you have to draw a print region. And basically, I just drew the print region, so it's all the way out to the perimeter of the graphic. That's it. That's the whole setup process, super easy. And this one happens to have a custom print region of 18 by 24, so I just hit the little plus button and added a custom print region. So I'm going to go back to that store again. We don't have to save any of this. And I just use the designer in my own account. I'm logged in. I'm an admin. I'm logged into my own account as an admin. And I'm going to actually just use the designer within my account. So I'm going to click on that grad sign right there. I'm going to use a white background. I'm going to click on Design Now. I'm going to go in and upload an image. So I saved this image as a PDF file. And I'm actually going to import that PDF file right directly in here. And then I'm going to size it all the way out to the perimeter. So it's all the way out to the perimeter. And then the last step is just putting in a placeholder for the text. And so I'm going to go over here and type in student name and go to script fonts. And I remember that font was Surfside right there. And I'll make that a little smaller. And, we'll have to make it kind of a judgment call on the color. I think using probably the gold color. And then I just use a little rotation handle in there. Made it a little smaller. And then there's my name drop. I think navy's going to look better. So this is now a template. And so the last part of the process, what I would do is I would save the design. And that's now saved into my account because I'm logged in as an admin. And then I'm going to go to next step. And then what I'm going to do in next step is add a quantity and then just click on it. And then I'm just going to screen grab this. Now, I think in terms of creating a better experience for the customer and the way it looks in the store, what I did with this one is I actually took this image and superimposed it onto another photo. And you'll see what I did here. The most important thing here is to grab the sharing link. So when I'm in this design right here, there's actually a sharing link that will go directly to this design. I'm going to grab that sharing link. I actually have a doc open. I'd copy it into that doc, and then we'll show you how to set it up in InkSoft. So what I did for this particular one is I created a content block with the sign product down here. So I imported the image, just use the import function. And here's the image right here. So when I originally brought that in, it wasn't side by side. It wasn't nice and neat. It didn't have any kind of a caption underneath it. The images weren't the same size. So I created a prompt to fix that. And the prompt that I used to fix it was this: align images horizontally, add a caption, and add links. What I did is I took the code out of the content block. I just copied it. And I said, modify this code. And then what I did is I pasted it in here, and then down here is where I put the instructions. I said, add this hypertext link to the image on top, add this hypertext link to the image on bottom, align both images in a horizontal row to across, make both images the same height as the one on the left, pretty easy, center images horizontally on the page, leave 100 pixel gap between images, apply a caption under the image, 18 by 24 yard sign, apply a caption under the right image, 6 by 3 vinyl banner. That's it. So you have to think a little bit logically when I go in and create this code here, it's very literal. So I'll just go ahead and put that prompt in, and then we'll let Chat GPT do its thing. And so it's just writing the code just like a human being would write. There we go. Also, let's go and grab this code, copy code, and paste that code in there and see what happens. So that's how easy it is to create custom HTML code using prompts. You can take this to really any degree. If you're creating directories, if you want to feature products, if you want to embed another website, the way we did the embed with the art portal was quite simple. GraphicsFlow has embed code for my portal. So I just went over here, go to settings. So I'm in manage settings for GraphicsFlow. This is where I set up all the custom fields for my portal. And this is where that HTML code is, right down here at the bottom. I copied it. And then what I did, same program, I created a content block. And I just pasted the code in, and it automatically created this. And this is where it gets really cool. So now what I can do is go to manage content and grab this code if I want to. Just grab it, copy it, go into Chat GPT and say, add a header that says, request a design for customization centered above the iframe. And then we'll just click on that. It'll write the code. So I don't have to really hack at any HTML code. I don't have to write any HTML code. I don't really have to know anything about HTML. Just need to know what I want to do and then give it instructions. It feels like you're just talking to a person. You know, you go in there and just like you were giving instructions to maybe your in-house web person. And so we'll just copy that in there. There's my code right here. We don't need that part. And we'll take that and we'll bold it and make it a little bit bigger. And there you go. And I want to have Ryan talk to you a little bit about using the content block and HTML to incorporate a chatbot into your InkSoft stores.
So actually, a lot of the things that Craig showed in his Chat GPT model and some of the things that he was doing are exactly how I created this blue shirt printing company. This actually started as our original store that was like the Circus Print Shop. Refreshed it a little bit, used Chat GPT, and was able to rebrand this as the Blue Shirt Printing Company in our fictional demo store that we have here. You might notice on the bottom right, we've got a little chat bubble. And this is simply a script embed that you can do into any InkSoft store. And what this allows you to do is actually have a AI-powered chatbot that can help your customers with some of those more common questions, right? Things like turnaround times, asking about fundraisers, or maybe some design services, or even apparel options. Now, there's a lot of different chatbots out there available. Some are free, some are paid. You know, maybe it's outside of your business hours, or somebody's just navigating on your InkSoft homepage and they've got a question about maybe some artwork. I could just ask it, where can I find designs? And I can type that in, or we can even create little prompts down here that would even point your customers to give information about that. The chatbot, again, is only going to be about as smart as you program it, or it's only going to know as much as you teach it. So over time, it'll continue to get better as different questions are asked and answered through the system. And it's just a great way to find out, for your customers to find out more about your products, services, turnaround times, and these little things that might interrupt your day are now automated and just handled on your website. We can even find out information, say, can I check my order status? And it might even be able to direct me to the link where I can then say, great, you can view the order status by clicking on this link. I can then open this up and, well, now I'm in my account, my orders, and I can see that there's an order placed with an estimated due date. And with InkSoft, I can even go in and inspect different information about my particular order or reorder. The introduction of a chatbot into an InkSoft store page is just another tool that will allow you to save a ton of time in your day. This is by chatbase.co. It was just one of the top ones that popped up on Google when I was doing a little bit of research on it. It's very user-friendly, very easy to train and populate on, especially on an InkSoft site. It's just a matter when you want to embed this script, it's going to the store admin page, and then all the way down here to our developer settings, we can embed a custom script. And this is where you can do things like embedding Google Tag Manager, analytics, and even messaging services like this.
How did you go about training the bot?
Funny, I actually had Chat GPT write some information about a fictional print shop called Blue Shirt Printing Company. You can see there's one chatbot here, and you can see it's trained. You can see the different settings. Here's where you can create the prompts for down here. What are the standard things you'd like it to be able to do? And you've got a dashboard so you can see all the different conversations that are happening on it. So I saw the other day that somebody had asked the chatbot a question and said, do you have the G500? I'm not sure. For that, give Craig a call. And I can go in and I can revise this and retrain it and say, we do have the G500. And I can update that. So now the next time somebody asks, do you have the G500? It'll actually give me the answer. So this is what I mean by it gets smarter the longer you use it. And the more it's used is because you can continue to feed it more information.
I like the idea of the qualifying questions get generated by Chat GPT. Chat GPT is a pretty incredible research tool. What I would normally do is I would start a new chat because I don't want the context from the previous chat interfering with the new information. So tell exactly what you want. I am setting up a chatbot for a screen printing shop. What are the most important questions that a potential client would ask, right? It's always important to put a role in there, and then let's see what it says. So what services do you offer? That makes sense. What is the minimum order quantity? Can I see samples of your work? Do you have a gallery of links to images of past projects? Ever that art portal comes in pretty great, or you can set up a sample gallery. Man, there's some great questions. Can I get proof of a sample before I get started? How can I contact you or get more specific queries? Do you have promotions or discounts? How do I place an order? What is your revision and cancellation policy? Do you offer shipping and delivery? So basically, I would cut and paste this into a Word doc, and I would answer all these questions. And then once I answered all these questions, you would just paste that into the learning model.
That's exactly how it works. Yeah, it's neat because you can upload files, you can upload text documents, or you can just simply copy and paste information like this. And that way, when somebody asks that question, it knows the answer and can give them the answer just like you would give them.
I think it's really important to me. And as I've had to learn the platform, the way your store looks, this is going to be the first impression that a customer gets. And I'm a big fan of having stores that are clean, have good colors, have good contrast, have good images, but I don't want to overcomplicate a store. What I like about this store is it's very simple, it's very functional, but it's also segmented. So we have patch layouts over here. If the customer really wants to get a cap, they can go over here and click on this patch and they can name drop this for a cap. So let me just kind of share what I did here is I went into my digitizing software, which is a software called Drawings. I created this file from GraphicsFlow. I just drag and dropped a GraphicsFlow file into Drawings and it converted it into a production ready SO file. Didn't have to do anything. Then what I did is I saved the Drawings file and I actually saved the DST version of it too, because I thought I might use it in the future as a SO file. But I just saved a PNG preview. And so this part here looks like embroidery is actually the PNG preview that I imported into the design. And then I just typed this text over here. So it's a hybrid between embroidery and vector text. But notice I put in here, it says the customized lettering and the finished product will be embroidered. Just kind of to let the customer know that. And this is more just a traditional embroidery. All these are created in Drawings. So let's take a look at maybe another store, same general concept. And this store is a corporate store. And I'll go over here to the Honor Health store. This is a corporate store. So I started out with the exact same template, updated the banner. But what I did here that was kind of fun is I made those custom graphics in GraphicsFlow, but I did it as kind of what we call lifestyle branding. And if you go down here at the bottom, this is the boring logo that you might see every employee wearing, right? So you got the boring pocket logo, you got the boring baseball cap logo. Nobody's too excited. But if you scroll down here, this is what we'd call lifestyle branding. These are all GraphicsFlow templates that I just went in and did some simple editing on. If you are an employee and you given a choice of what you'd like to wear around the office, you're probably not going to be excited about wearing something like this, but you're probably going to be more excited about wearing this cool quarter zip with an applique patch on it, or a nice t-shirt with a desert landscape that you can even name drop your department into. So one of the things that I always like to kind of suggest to our clients is don't think of your corporate clients as just, hey, I'm putting logos on stuff. Get ideas in front of them. Get them to engage with graphics, because you'll still get that boring logos on stuff business, but you will sell more and they will purchase more, obviously, if you have better graphics that connect with their employees on the level of, hey, I would definitely wear this shirt on a Saturday. Nobody's wearing this on a Saturday, but you know what? I'd probably wear this on a Saturday, and especially if it had my department in there, because we set this up as a name drop. And if the customer wanted to check out, they could do that. This is showing you some of the advanced possibilities of using artificial intelligence to write HTML code. And from my perspective, I think the sky's the limit. It'll be really interesting to see, how this evolves and how people are using this technology to supercharge their stores and bring them to life. We're still kind of in the early stages, but I would encourage everyone to try this. There's no harm in trying. You'll get a really good feel of how ChatGPT works and how it can write code and how you can make updates to your prompts to get it to do exactly what you want. It's a little bit of trial and error. Everything that we showed you here today was free. The chatbot was free, and I'm just using the free version. I'm not using the paid version of ChatGPT. So the only thing you're paying for is your InkSoft, and you're using all these great free tools to really bring them to life. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today on InkSoft Academy. We'll have to do this again sometime. And thank you all for joining us and learning how to supercharge your InkSoft stores.